Hello, beautiful people. My name is Athol. Let's jump into it. And today I want to continue on the series about the anxious wife that I started yesterday. And I think this is going to be really helpful to see where her anxiety fits into the chain of seduction model that I've talked about a lot on this channel. If you need the quick refresher or the Cliff Notes version, the chain of seduction has 6 different links, and you need to pass each link and in order to get to the next one, where the final one is where she's agreeable and happy to have some kind of sex. The 6 links being your physicality, your basic attraction level, the question of relationship comfort, does she have enough energy, are your initiations good, and is the sex itself, the consummation, good too? So her anxiety level fits in very, very nicely with the comfort link in the chain. The more generally relaxed she is, the easier it is to pass this link in the chain. The more anxious she is, the more stressed she is by sex or relationship she is, the harder it is to pass this link in the chain. So you may be in great physical shape, you may be highly attractive, she might be highly anxious, and you don't quite do enough to pass the comfort link in the chain, which means it doesn't matter if she has enough spare energy to be wanting to have sex. It doesn't matter how good your initiations are, because they're all going to fail. And it doesn't matter how good you are in bed, because you're just never going to get to the consummation link in the chain. She's just too anxious. She's too stressed out. She can't make herself have the sex. And that's why I said yesterday, guys get caught up in these bigger and bigger hoop jumping exercises, trying to give her such a wonderful, relaxing, magical experience that it is greater than her level of anxiety. She finally relaxes. You pass the comfort link in the chain, and then it's just the question of, does she have enough energy? Do you make a basic initiation? And are you getting to the sex? So that's one way of doing it. Or alternatively, she has a motivation greater than her anxiety. Her anxiety might be a 6 out of 10, but her desire to make a baby is a 9. So while she's trying to get pregnant, her mental real estate space is taken up on make a baby, not am I anxious about the sex or the relationship. But then, of course, she gets pregnant, she has the baby, that motivation goes, and you're just back to an anxious wife. The other way you can try and get past the comfort link in the chain of seduction is by giving her an experience where you make her far more anxious about not having sex than she is about having sex. Which basically means you have to give her something that terrifies her, that if she doesn't have sex, even worse things are going to happen. So this is where you bring in things like very clearly trying to pull the attention of other women on you. This is where you disappear without notice, without warning. She has no idea where you went, what you did, what you spent your money on, who you were with. You just vanished. Where you're very clearly, having massive fights about sex that are just scaring her, where sometimes you can even use physical intimidation, or there's just straight up divorce threats or threats to leave her, whatever. Basically, you're trying to make her so worried about those things that she's more worried about them than she is about having the sex. This does work in the short term, because you do get past that comfort link in the chain. You just kind of force your way through. And then it's, she has the sex, and it feels like a win. But what you have to think of is, why did she get anxious in the first place? And it's usually because it's some sort of mixture of, basic genetics, how she is wired, plus whether or not she's had some kind of trauma, just a whole collection of bad experiences, whether she's been abandoned, whether she's been cheated on. These are all things that have risen her baseline anxiety level. And now you're supplying a whole bunch more of these experiences to make her more scared about not having sex than having the sex. So you're giving her more anxious, anxiety-inducing experiences. I mean, just think, if someone has a fear of abandonment and then you constantly threaten to abandon them, they are not going to become more comfortable. They're not going to become more relaxed. And slowly over time, their baseline level of anxiety is going to go up. So her anxiety might have been a 6, and you do a whole bunch of dread, and you wrangle some sex out of her, but slowly over time, her anxiety at a 6 goes to a 7. And now you have to pull bigger and bigger stunts to make her more and more anxious about not having the sex. And then you do those, and then her anxiety level goes to a 7 to an 8. And it's really just sets you on this path where eventually she reaches this breaking point where she just has no interest in you, she has no interest in sex, and she just has this mental breaking point, and everything blows up at that point. The true solution is to do the things that are going to reduce her overall just baseline level of anxiety. If her anxiety level is a 6, it's finding the things that get it to a 5. It's finding the things that get that to a 4, that get that to a 3. And let me tell you, once that happens, she becomes so much easier to live with. Your initiations become far more effective. She becomes far more open and agreeable to having sex. And she's honestly just less stressed. She's happier. So when I come back tomorrow, I think I'll talk about a little bit more about, how the anxiety levels increase. And then we get in the later week, I'm really going to talk about things like how do you actually get those baseline anxiety levels down. So that's about it for today, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Catch you later.